We are bubbling with new energy. So when you are lonely, then you get into all kinds of, you get into depression. You'll have to forgive me, someone is listening into this. What do you think we are trying to achieve with this youth energy? There are 4 challenges, ma'am, that the world will confront. There isn't a 5th. Anyone who tells you there are more than 4, Ukraine is an unnecessary distraction. We'll talk about. The first challenge is health. The Chinese virus was the severest threat to our survival ever since human beings came into existence. I recall how we floundered in 2020 and 2021. We didn't know how to deal with it. Something like this had never happened before. No one knew how to deal with it. There used to be a person, he was the president then of the United States, a person called McDonald Trump, or whatever his name was. And he wrote to us saying, I need hydroxychloroquine and I need paracetamol and I need all this, and we sent it. And he tweeted, India has been great, we shall never forget. 2021, we had this Omicron variant. We had no idea how to deal with it. Now we have a lot of people saying, you should have done this, you should have done that. My question to them is, why didn't you tell us then? It's very easy to be wise after the event. Then we all have perfect vision, but not when things are happening. But we regained control and we recovered quicker than any other country on the planet. So the Chinese virus, which has killed millions of people, which has cost lives and livelihoods, which has affected so many, and we'll continue to feel the after effects for a very long time, for generations. The atom bombs in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, well, we know the devastation they caused, but the after effects are still being felt. Similarly with the virus. The number of deaths, the figures keep changing, but you can look it up on the net, you'll find out how many millions have been killed. So China sent its visiting card to 200 countries. Its visiting card said virus. India sent its visiting card to 200 countries. It said vaccine. That was the difference. China gave an example of its power to hurt. I showed you the power of my example to help. I am privileged to be special advisor to 3 governments in Africa. And all 3 leaders told us, thank you, India, for sending us vaccines. Thank you for sending us your people to train us. Thank you for giving us the COVID platform, which is a brilliant software you can deal with any kind of medical situation. They said, we don't know how to use it. We said, we'll train you. And how much money did we charge? 0. Why do we do this? Because, ma'am, you might think it's funny. You might think it's a cliche. We do believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. We've always believed it. So the virus is going to be our biggest challenge. And who's going to deal with it? Young people. They are going to come up with new ideas. How many countries could have done 2 billion vaccinations? I repeat, 2 billion vaccinations in just over a year. Well, we did it. And it's become a national movement. I have lost hundreds of doctors, nurses, frontline workers. Why did they sacrifice their lives? Because this was a moment of crisis for us. So how we deal with the virus, and we will eliminate it. We'll deal with its long-term effects too. India will show the way. That is our major challenge. The second is climate change. And look at the floods ravaging my neighboring country. I forget the name of that country. They keep fighting with us. A third of that nation is submerged. And when we tweeted, our Prime Minister tweeted and said, look, we are very sorry. Contained in that was a message, guys, we're willing to help, but they won't take help. They said, well, unless you solve the Kashmir issue. And I've heard one of their politicians saying, if the Kashmir issue is solved, the floods will recede. There'll be no more hunger in the world. The Ukraine crisis will be solved. These fellows have lost it. So climate change, you're seeing unseasonal rains, you're seeing drought in China, food shortage around the world. The Ukraine crisis has made its contribution, but there are many, many other reasons. The main one is climate change. We've seen drought and wildfires in California. There was a time when armed police was inside department stores guarding drinking water bottles where people were stealing them. There was no water to drink. So climate change and how we deal with it will be our second biggest challenge. And India, again, is uniquely positioned to take the lead because we've never damaged our planet. We call it Dharti Ma, Mother Earth. Nobody hurts your mother. We've not done it at all. But there are others who have. And then they say, well, India should pay the price and some developing countries should take lead. Yes, we are. But damage the planet? Come on. Now, give me a break. We worship mountains. We worship rivers. We worship trees. We are the most eco-friendly nation in the universe, in human history. What is our river? We call it Ganga Ma. We call it Jamuna Ma. We call it Saraswati Ma. She's the mother. This is India's ecological contribution to the world. The third challenge will be economic recovery. How do we do it? We are going into recession. Everybody who's a conventional economist is saying, now this will happen, that will happen, everything will happen. Well, when the colonial experiment started several hundred years ago, the fellows who came to colonize Latin America, Asia, and Africa did not come in aircraft. There were no planes. They didn't come in motor cars. There were no motor cars. They didn't come by train. There were no trains. They came through the waterways because the seas were open and free. And so recovery today will also begin with free and open seas. And that's why we exercise and assert the right to free navigation. But there is this character called Dingling, Pingling, whatever his name is in China. He says, sorry, buddy, the Pacific Ocean belongs to me. We said, how come? He said, well, I found under my bed a paper that said my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather went there, he drowned, so it belongs to me. So I mean, when I heard this kind of rubbish, I told one of my friends from that country, I said, buddy, even I found a paper which said my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather died in Beijing, so China belongs to me. This kind of nonsense has to be called out, and it is being called out. And the fourth thing is the new technologies. And look at the stuff that we are seeing today. You know, we are leading the world in digital technology. We have the largest number of online transactions ever of any country. The largest number. The number is, you can check it on the net, several million, 40, 45 million every day. And then we were told by our Reserve Bank that by 2025, we would be spending, in terms of value, $1 trillion on online transactions. 1 trillion by 2025. Well, we are Indians. We've done it in 2022. We've done it 3 years ahead of schedule. Last year, the Prime Minister had promised, in 2020, he had promised that within 10 years, by 2030, 40% of our installed energy capacity would be new and renewable energy. 40% within 10 years. When did we achieve it? Last year, 9 years ahead of schedule. This is not the things that they like to be told, but this is not the India that I was born in, where we took for granted delays and corruption and what have you and what have you. This is the new India. These youngsters, whether it's in agriculture, in industry, look at the startup apps that we have for our farmers. We have a population of 1.35 billion. I have 1.7 billion mobile connections, and I have 1 billion smartphones. Ma'am, that's a figure to be amazed about. And with these smartphones, when I needed a social security net for our population, for 800 million people, we started giving free food grains up to a certain limit. 400 million received cash subsidies directly into their bank accounts. So when I set a world record by opening 300 or 350 million bank accounts, practically within a few months under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, the Prime Minister's public money thing, people laughed at us and said, aha, what's going to happen? Well, what happened was that we were able to transfer the money directly into their bank account. So the groundwork was done. And now we are reaping the benefit. Today, India is a digital country. Everything I do, as far as I'm concerned, my wife of 45 years and I, 95% of our purchases, including vegetables, is online. We just get onto the phone, open the app and say, all right, bring this. And do you know what? The latest? Fresh vegetables, ma'am. We live in the nation's capital in New Delhi. Fresh vegetables arrive in 10 minutes. I don't know how they do it. Maybe they have chaps on motorcycles outside my house waiting with the vegetables. 10 minutes. How do you do this? Because they have their delivery people, or there's logistics. Yeah, these are the young kids who are doing it. So therefore, with this my median age is 29, which means half of all Indians are above 29, half are below 29. Japan is the oldest country in the world. Their median age is 49. Half of Japanese are above 49, half below 49. So I keep joking with my Japanese friends. I say, you guys have forgotten how to make babies. We'll teach you, we have the technology. Last year, Japanese mothers produced 900,000 babies. We produced more than that in New Delhi alone. So we laughed about it. Because we are, as a young nation, as a startup nation, as a digital nation, we are going to show the way. Oh, I'm not at all claiming that overnight we'll be the most developed country in the world. But the first thing that has to be done when you embark on the process of development is to liberate the mind. And that's what we've done. If you ever get a chance to visit the nation's capital, go see Central Vista, where we put the statue now of our great national hero who was never given his rightful place in history, Netaji Subhas Bose. Go and see it. The number of people who come and salute get inspired by this man who used the Japanese, who was friendly with the Japanese, and along with the Japanese army, they came up to northeastern India. They fought. That's a different matter that it turned out to be something else. But he realized that the only way to boot the British out was through military action. Because as soon as the war was over, the Brits, who had promised us that they would give us independence after that, then again started saying, well, we said after that, that could mean 20,000 years or 10,000 years or 5,000 years or whatever. But then we decided that, we would do what we had to, and we realized that Britain was broken, it had no money, it had no nothing, so they just had to go. So it's not that anybody granted us our independence. We won our independence through a combination of many factors, which everybody knows about. But essentially, the people of India rose as a magnificent wave, an unstoppable wave that swept away the old and ushered in the new. And that's precisely what we are doing today, which is why I'm privileged to be alive today. I'm 71 years young. I don't know how much time I have. But what I'm seeing today makes me say, thank you, God, for letting me witness this climacteric, this milestone in my country's development. And my prayer to God, once I leave my body, is when my ashes are strewn across the country, as I've requested my family, scattered in the dust, silent I remain. When India's bugle calls, I will rise again. I have no country other than India. I have no mother other than India. I serve her as best as I can. Maybe not enough, maybe not fruitful, maybe not effective, but I give it everything.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.